All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Knotted Knits podcast special event episode. My name is Amy, and tonight we are being joined by...
I'm Rachel of the Pearls and Polish podcast.
Awesome. So Rachel and I have been friends for quite a few years. We met during a swap that no longer takes place. And about 3 years ago, we started the Fiber Friends sock yarn swap. And last year she let me co-host. This year we're tag teaming again and hosting the sock yarn swap.
Regular yarn swap.
Right, you've changed it this year. So tell us about the change this year.
Yeah, so this year we decided to change it to be the Fiber Friends yarn swap. I keep getting confused.
Yep.
Swap. Because not everybody knits socks. You and I knit socks. We knit a lot of socks.
Yes.
But we realized not everyone does. And so we wanted to include as many people as possible because yarn swaps are awesome. And so we decided to open it to other yarn weights. So if you're not a sock knitter, but you love yarn swaps, then we have a place for you. So come join.
Yeah, and we do. We want to make this a really inclusive place for everybody to come in and have fun and swap a skein of yarn and make a new friend, because this is actually our first time sitting down and talking in real life together. I wouldn't say every day, but I know at least a couple of times a week we're commenting on each other's stories or, something that's happening with our kiddos, and we're engaged that way. But this is our first time hanging out in real time, real life.
Yeah, which doesn't feel like I don't know for you, but I've known Amy for years.
Yeah.
We've spent so much time together. It was oh wait, this is our first time actually talking to each other.
Yeah.
Not over our phones, which has been great.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's it's a real back and forth conversation, and it's really cool, and that's what we want the swap to be for our friends, our new friends. We had a lot of people who participated last year, and we hope to have just as many, if not more, participate this year. But we'll go into a little bit more of the specific details of the swap later, but I want my viewers to get to know you a little bit more if they're not subscribed to your channel or following you on Instagram, which they should. So go ahead first, tell me the name of your channel and where you can be found on social media.
Yeah, so I'm the Pearls and Polish podcast. I almost said the Knotted Knitter. I was I'm not knitting. Amy's the Knotted Knitter. I'm the Pearls and Polish podcast. So I'm on YouTube and then also on Instagram as Pearls and Polish.
Awesome. Yes. And I'm really glad, again, that we got to sit down and do this with each other tonight. So I'm going to start with, I am on the East Coast, you are on the West Coast, I'm in Pennsylvania, you are in California, and I was curious, have you always been in California? Have you always been a West Coast girl?
Yes, I have. So my great-grandparents came from Mexico to the Sacramento region to work on railroads. So I'm actually third generation in the town that I live in. Yeah, I have never, I've visited other places, but I've never lived somewhere outside of where I live.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, and then I know in the episode we just recorded for my channel, make sure you check that out.
Yes.
We talked about being an army brat and moving all over the place. I have never experienced that.
Oh, really?
I grew up in the same house until college, and my parents moved to the next town over.
Yeah.
And then I got married and moved into the apartment my husband and I shared. That has been, and then we moved with my in-laws. So that's the extent of my moving. I know.
That's wild. That is wild. I think I don't remember the exact count anymore, but between birth and I think it was my fourth grade, when I started fourth grade, I had moved 10 times.
Oh,
It was crazy. It was crazy, crazy. So when my husband and I bought our house, this is the home that I've lived in the longest, and we've been here for about 20 years now. So
oh,
yeah, this is home. But I yeah,
yeah,
definitely wish that I had a little bit more of that steady, stable childhood that didn't involve moving so much. But it was fun growing up like that. It was.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I am a California girl, so I don't do weather. The part of the state that I live in, we don't have snow. There's no like we don't have earthquakes because
Yeah.
I'm in Northern California, so it is lovely all the time. Winters are very wet, but no snow, no blizzards, no hurricanes. It is lovely. So
So this is not on my list, but since like I know you travel, I know because of things that you've shared personally and professionally, you've traveled. But I'm a PA girl, so I'm here for the blizzards. Like I
oh my
want
gosh.
feet of
No.
snow. I do. But have you ever experienced snow like
Yeah.
substantial? Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
so where I live, you're about 2 hours from anything. So if you want snow, you go up 80 for 2 hours. If you
okay,
want the beach, then you go down 80 for like 2 hours. So
okay.
I've been in the snow.
All right.
Like we've gone snowshoeing and we've gone, tobogganing and sledding. I hate the snow. I
You're
hate
saying
cold.
you're saying it all with such disdain. I love it. You're like, no.
No, I don't like being wet. I don't like being cold. I don't like
Okay.
being wet and cold.
No.
But I'm also like me and my can-do attitude. So when a bunch of friends wanted to go snowshoeing like 2 years ago, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I've never gone snowshoeing, but I can do that. And we
Yeah.
had
Let's.
the best time. It was so much fun. Would I choose that for myself? Absolutely not.
Okay, that's fair. Well, you found your safe place in the United States where
Yeah.
you're comfortable. You like it there, so don't change.
No,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Travel. Yeah, you travel and you check out new places, but hey, I'm going right back to California. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. That is. So I actually, as many years as we have been friends, I don't know to say your knitting story. So how long have you been knitting, and how did you come to be a knitter?
Yeah. So my grandmother has zero chill. She is 90 something years old. I think she's turning 96. And she crochets like she's running out of time. Like she's completing
Oh,
blankets in a matter of a week or two. She lives with one of my aunts, so they have to take away her knitting at night so that she'll sleep. And then she'll wake up early to like crochet and knit. So I've been very fortunate where I have a couple pieces that she's made for me that I have stashed away that I'd like to get framed at some point. I made her a little lap blanket. So like every day when she prays, she pulls it out and puts it on her lap and then prays for all of her grandchildren, which is like, oh, grandma. So my grandmother has zero chill. My mother has zero chill. She mostly sewed when we were growing up, so she sewed a lot of our clothes and any little things she sewed or hemmed or fixed. She also knits and crochets. So I feel like genetically I was already like going in that direction of being a crafty person, which I am. But I learned how to crochet first, and I was fine at it. And then in no, yeah, the fifth grade, Mrs. Mesmer's fifth grade class. Oh no, she was a fifth grade teacher. So I remember where at. Mrs. Mesmer fifth grade class. She taught the gate class. I was not in the gate class, but a bunch of my friends were, and she taught her class how to knit. And that was just part of their curriculum.
mhm.
And so one day she let me come in at recess, and her whole class had stayed in to knit, and she let me stay, and she taught me how to knit. And then, after like a month or two, everyone else started trickling back out for recess, and I would still be in her classroom knitting. So that's how I learned. And then I kind of dropped off and I did other crafty things. And then when I was pregnant with my oldest child, um, picked up knitting again because I was spinning. I decided I was going to learn how to spin wool. So I had done that, and then after the birth of my second child, I had a lot of postpartum anxiety. So my spinning and knitting went into like overdrive because I didn't know what to do with myself. And I learned that when my hands were busy, my mind was quiet. So it helped kind of work through all of those postpartum feels when I was making something with my hands. And so then it just kind of stuck. My kids got a little older and they always wanted to touch my spinning wheel. So I stopped spinning, but I kept knitting, and there's where we are now. So
yeah. And now you take your knitting with you everywhere too, right?
Everywhere. Yes. Yeah. We are a Taekwondo family. I know you guys are a dance family, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So even though they're very different, I don't feel like they're that different because there's still music involved.
There's music, there's a lot of rehearsals, and there's opportunities that parents are always asked to volunteer.
Yes, sometimes they get involved. There are competitions for both of our sports. So I am usually sitting in the studio while my kids are, kicking things and punching things, and I'm knitting. And then I eventually got on the mat. Like they said, well, you're here anyways. You might as well try it. So I said, okay. And so now I also punch and kick things.
Yeah.
And knit. While other people are punching and kicking things.
Yes.
So.
And I love how you had shared on a video, one of your episodes a couple of weeks ago. I think maybe it was January or into February, of the balance of you were getting ready for one of your competitions where you were being, and I'm not going to get all of this right, Rachel. I'm sorry. It was your exams to be moved up to your next belt color. Wow. And I loved how you were so hesitant because you had to punch things and you didn't want to hurt your hands because you weren't going to be able to knit.
Yeah. I think about.
Yeah, and I do. I think that's when we realize like that's just like you said, and your children are much older now, that the rhythm of the knitting really does so much for easing those mental anguishes. And when you start making those decisions of, oh, hang on, if I do this and then I can't knit, what am I going to do?
Problems.
You're right. Yeah. Yes. But I admire that so much, of how it grew from watching your kids do Taekwondo to you stepping up and saying, heck yeah, I'm going to do that too. I think that is awesome. That is very, very cool. So aside from doing Taekwondo, I know because you have shared it on your podcast, you are a very big reader also. And I know you're in a book club and things like that. So this is a bigger question. Okay. So if we need to come back to it, we can, and you can think about it, because I do have some questions that are a little easier. But my question is, what character from a book or movie or show do you relate to most, and why?
Oh, that's easy.
Okay.
I'm glad that. So I would say I feel like I'm most like Jo March of Little Women.
Oh, I love that.
I do too. So one of our kids, her middle name is Josephine. Jo March. Because and after an aunt who also was named Josephine, but like that's kind of how we picked it, was after Jo March. I love Little Women so much. I love the movie adaptations. The two most recent ones that came out, and then the one from like the 90s or early 2000s. I love all of those. Because I feel like Jo, it feels so like misplaced. Like she doesn't know if she's coming or going. She has all these dreams, but she's very limited to her time and place. And yet she still manages to persevere and find her place in her world. And I love that. And I love how the book is written, where all those women are all struggling in their own way and are very honest struggles. Even how their mom is very honest with them, of like there's a line in the Greta Green movie of like, I'm angry every single day of my life. And it's like, yes, I feel it so much. And it being okay to feel non-feminine feelings, like women feel rage and women feel frustration, and being able to take that and put it into a healthy medium. So I love Jo March. She's like, her line of I should have been a great many things. I feel it's kind of the theme of my life as well. Like, oh, I could have done this or I could have done that, but I'm happy with the place that I'm at.
Right.
Like, this is where I was supposed to be. The other one that I kind of aspired to be is kind of like a Katniss Everdeen, where she's a total badass, but the same so insecure, and like doesn't know if she's coming or going. And so I really like how that character is written, as far as having to step up and make really hard decisions, and yet still like grasping onto humanity, and like, did I make the right choice?
Yeah.
And how are my choices affecting others? So really love the Hunger Games, and Little Women. Those are my two favorite series.
So I have to say, to anyone who is watching this, Rachel and I did not share these questions with each other. She asked me questions. I asked her questions. My middle name is Beth. I'm not even joking. So when my mom was pregnant, she went on a huge Little Women kick. And to this day, I'm like, why didn't you name me Jo or Meg? Like, Mom, come on. And I even tried when I was pregnant with my daughter to take Meg to Margaret, and I love the name Maggie. And my husband was like, no, absolutely not, because all he could think of was Maggie Simpson. But that is just, that was a fantastic answer. So I just wanted to share that, because I really had no idea what you were going to say, because you read a lot, and you read you read such a mixture of books. Like, you're not just reading young adult fiction. Like, you read something recently, and now I can't think of what it was, but I was like, that's a big book. You read a big book. So.
We read Anna Karenina for books.
Yes.
So I was an English major in college, and I worked for a library at the same time. So literature has been a big part of my life. I'm in my bedroom right now. Against this back wall, which you cannot see, is covered in books. If there were to be the big earthquake in California, we would be smothered with literature, and I would be happy to die that way, because we would be
right. You're going out with what you love.
It'd be great. It would be so fitting for who my husband and I are. But Anna Karenina was one that was rough. Like, I avoided Russian literature all through college, and I was so proud of myself. And then when our book club said, we're reading this, okay. And I loved it.
Fun. Yeah. It was like a for fun thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I had thoughts on that book. I loved to hate that book. Anna.
Now did you truly read it like book paper, or was it like, I'm gonna put this in my earbuds and we're gonna listen to it on Kindle?
So at this stage of my life, I'm doing mostly audiobooks.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they all count. In my opinion, they all count. You are consuming something, so it counts.
They've done, okay, so my sister and I have had this argument for years. And there was a study, and I sent it to her, and she hasn't said anything since. But there was a study done where people were reading literature and then listening to it, and they did brain studies, and it's triggering the same parts of your brain. So it's real. It counts.
Okay.
But in this stage of my life, because I have younger children, school-age children, I am driving to and from school. I'm driving to and from work. I'm driving to and from Taekwondo classes. If I'm doing dishes or laundry, I don't have a ton of time to sit with a book in my hands. So for me, it's I need literature in my life, so I'm going to listen to it, because it still counts. And I love being read to. How does that count when you're a child, but not when you're an adult?
Right. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you see the studies of if you read this many books to your children by the age of 5,
Yeah.
how beneficial it is to them. So yeah, I am a huge fan of audiobooks too. So but I did, if you would have said that you actually read the book, I might have like been in awe of you just a little bit more.
Oh no, no, I
So,
probably
but
would have
that's
like,
okay. That's
yeah. I probably would have
yeah.
thrown it because I have been known to throw books when I get
Oh,
frustrated. But
yes.
you can't do that when you're driving down, the freeway. Like
You can honk your horn, honk your horn,
yeah,
let out a little bit of rage.
yes.
So it is. It really, really is. So in the Fiber Friends yarn swap, we are asking one requirement, and I want you to go ahead and tell me what that is. Pop quiz. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm ready. So our one requirement is 100-gram skein of yarn. And this year, since we're opening it up to multiple yarn weights, we do have a section in our, I want to say intake form. That's not right. Like the questionnaire form of like, what is your preferred yarn weight to work with? So if you really like fingering weight yarn, there's a box for that. If you really like DK yarn, there's a box for that too. But the only requirement is 100 grams. Of course, talk to your partner and get creative. You and I have done swaps before that we've like spontaneously decided on at the last minute, and we've done two 50-gram skeins, which has been so much fun as far as like blending things together. We've also done minis.
Yeah.
So like definitely talk to
Mm-hmm.
your partner and see if that's something that they would want to try. But the only requirement,
Yeah.
100-gram skein, it can be from your stash, but it has to be like clean and still like in the wrapper and whatnot. So we got our 10-minute warning.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yep, I just got it too.
oh, you got it
So
too.
the reason I asked that question is you knit smaller projects, but you also are tackling some really big blankets now. If you were only able to use fingering weight yarn,
Mm-hmm.
would you knit socks or would you knit muscle burrow hats?
So I would knit all the things because I do what I want.
All the things? Okay.
All the things. But
Good.
also, I love, and I know we talked about this briefly, I love a fingering held double, like DK weight sock. I love
You
using
do, and I don't.
I know. There's something about using up the whole skein and then a couple minis that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
There's that finality of the project. So my most favorite DK weight sock pattern is the High Desert Socks by Lindsay Fowler, and I've made probably close to 20 pairs.
Oh
But
my gosh.
yeah, but it's a great stash buster. Like you can use scraps,
Yeah.
you can use two skeins together, and I am not limited with a fingering weight skein. I think that's my go-to because it's so versatile.
Yeah. It really is. It really is that versatile where you can hold it double and throw in some mohair or lace weight or Surrey or something like that and beef it up more. It's like the starting point. So you can go with it. All right. So I know when we chatted for our first video, I said that I enjoyed getting snacks in my swap package. But like you just said, 100-gram skein is our only requirement. But I am curious because I'm a snack kind of girl. Love to have that snack in my drawer. What is a food or a drink that you enjoy every day, or a treat that you look forward to?
So I am a coffee drinker, and I do put that in anytime we do a swap. I always put I drink coffee, not tea, because I drink a lot of tea, and I love that for other knitters, but I feel bad like I'm not going to drink this. So I'm a coffee drinker. So I love that first cup of coffee in the morning, and I love that second cup of coffee in the afternoon. Some days that's what kind of keeps me going, is that second cup of coffee. I look forward to that.
Looking forward to that second cup.
Oh yeah. I mean, the snacks I have in my house are like goldfish and granola bar, like things my kids eat. So I usually like eat whatever they have. But like knitting snacks,
Right.
I am a sucker for M&Ms. And I think you sent me like a giant bag of M&Ms, like Christmas time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, M&Ms all the way. It could be regular M&Ms,
Yeah.
M&Ms, peanut butter M&Ms. I am not picky. Because like you can still touch it and not get all.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not all over your fingers, so it
Yeah.
doesn't spread to your project. You could put 4 in your mouth, and no one will know. And I like playing the game of, can I eat this whole bag of M&Ms?
You could mix all of the different kinds.
Yeah. And then can my kids figure out where these are from?
Yeah.
Because I don't like to share them with my kids. That's it for me.
Yeah, no, we will never, ever tell our kids those secrets. No.
Oh yeah.
All right, but things we don't want to keep secrets from people are the details of the swap. So let's go ahead and get into that before we get another timer warning.
Yeah.
So on March 14th is when signups are going to go live. And I will have a link on my Instagram page. Rachel will have a link on her Instagram page with the questionnaire or intake form of what we are asking. And like Rachel said, we're looking for a couple of specific things. Rachel, do you want to go ahead and tell them some of the things we're looking for on that form?
Yeah, so we have been very intentional with the questions we ask. So we ask, like, what's your knitting level? Like, what are you feel like you're a beginner, intermediate, advanced? Your yarn preferences. We even ask like color preferences. Do you like speckles? Do you like gradients? Do you like tonals? Yarn base. What is your favorite yarn base to work with? We also ask, are you a chatty person, a not very chatty person, or like you don't like talking at all? Because we realize not everyone is like us where we're super chatty with our partners. Some people just want to trade yarn. So we want to be as inclusive as possible and make this as low risk as possible. So creating spaces for people who may not have the time to be super chatty or who just don't enjoy it, that there's still space for them in our yarn swap.
Absolutely. And we're giving a good bit of time. I think last year we didn't plan things quite as well as we did this year. And this year we're doing much better. We're feeling super confident and everyone will have a week to sign up. So we're opening these signups on March 14th. We're closing them on March 21st because our goal is to send out partner emails by March 30th.
Yeah.
This way we can let everybody know who their partner is. You'll have time to meet your partner and you have a deadline to ship your swap partners package by May 3rd. So we're really trying to get you the information as soon as you can to give you time to get that shipped out by May 3rd. We completely understand that things are going to come up and happen, and sometimes there are situations out of our control. So Rachel has a box on your sign-up form of being a swap angel. So Rachel, can you go ahead and explain what being a swap angel means?
Yeah, so a swap angel is completely optional. You don't have to sign up for it. But it's just a team of people who are ready to be called up if someone doesn't get a package. We've had instances in the past where someone got really sick and was hospitalized and they couldn't send their package out. So we called in the angels and they were able to get their partner a package, so they still were able to participate. We've also unfortunately have instances where the partner just completely ghosted and stopped all contact and never responded to messages. So in that case, we called in an angel and they were able to get a package out fairly quickly, and we were still able to have a great yarn swap. So the hope is never to call on the yarn angels to send something out, but we also want to have that like contingency plan just in case we need to. But it is completely voluntary, and it's always a great group of people who are willing to step up if needed for that instance.
It really is. And exactly like you said, we never require anyone to be an angel. I think you and I have both stepped in angel situations before, and it is nice when you are able to step up and help. But we know not everybody can do that, and that's perfectly fine. But if you should have the situation, like Rachel said, where your partner does completely ghost you, get in contact with Rachel or I. That way we can reach out to an angel, also reach out to the swap partner and see if something happens. And resolve that. So you do receive a swap package. We definitely want all of our participants to receive a swap package. And then I think that covers everything that I have on my checklist. But I'm going to defer to you. Was there anything that I missed? Because I want to make sure we get all of this covered.
Yeah, I think that's all of it. Like all the important stuff. And all of this will be on our Instagram and YouTube pages, so check those out too.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, everything will be in the show notes below, the description box below. And thank you for joining me tonight and spending some time doing a fun announcement of kicking off the yarn swap. Like you always say, fiber friends are the best friends, and we're really excited to help make new fiber friends this year.
Yes, they are. Well, thanks for having me on your channel.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you all for tuning in and watching this special episode of the Knotted Knits podcast with Rachel from the Pearls and Polish channel. We will see you all again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.